What does 75 years mean to you?
Oh, 75 years. 75 years, a long time.
The age of my grandparents.
It means history, it means relationships, it means family.
A long time, because it's older than I am.
Almost a third of those 75 years have been selling Kenworth trucks.
If you've been around for 75 years, it means you have a customer base that believes in you, that trusts you, that you're taking care of them.
It's momental.
For Rihm Kenworth to be 75 years old at that same time, 75% of the time that Kenworth's been around, Rihm Kenworth has been around. What a great partnership that's been.
So this year we're celebrating our 75th anniversary as a Kenworth truck dealer and 92 years in business. We became a Kenworth truck dealer in 1949, and our company was founded in 1932. So in 1932, in the height of the Great Depression, who starts a company? Well, JB did. I think it was in 1948, Kenworth came to him and said, we've got some trucks that were supposed to go to Mexico. Those trucks got ordered and canceled. Would you sell those trucks for us? So he said, sure, I'll sell those trucks. And then in 1949, we were named the first Kenworth dealer east of the Mississippi and the fourth Kenworth dealer in the network. One of his sons, Walter, was my grandfather, and he was our second generation owner.
Walter would come in the morning, and I actually had an office in the main dealership. And Walter would come by. I'd usually get there around 7 in the morning, and I could hear him coming down the hallway. He'd peek his head around my office. Morning. Yeah, I don't think he knew who I was. I was a young kid at the time.
Walter was jovial, and he'd come in, he'd read the paper, he'd go in and say hi to everybody that was in the office. John continued that on, though. He followed in his father's footsteps with always going around and saying hi to everybody.
Worked under John. He was quite an interesting man. He had his ways, and he was a good guy to work for, very fair.
My father was our third generation owner, and in 2010, my dad got diagnosed with a brain tumor, and 4 months later passed away. And that was my sister's senior year when he passed away. So Carrie, who's my stepmom, got a call from Kenworth Truck Company and said, Carrie, you inherit the business, but you don't have an approved successor. So what would you like to do? And Carrie said, well, I guess I should get to work.
To be female-owned and just to see what Carrie's done for the community. I mean, we went from when I first started, it was 1 to adding Duluth to 2 to, we're up to 7, and then we have the leasing. And
for Kenworth, it was huge. It really put Rihm Kenworth on the map in their eyes. Like, okay, here's a company that's going to put some investment in their facilities and in their people.
Just amazing to look at the transition from buildings and trucks. You out here, look at all these trucks out here, how old they are, and the technology, just the same with the buildings. And the transition to dealership, how it's grown, and the intensity and the level of service we can give that we couldn't offer before. It's just amazing. It's ever changing.
We've hauled for Kenworth and did things with Kenworth for over 45, 50 years while we were in business. And with Rihm, selling the trucks, I'm not saying I made it easy on the salesman, but while I was buying trucks, we bought them all from Rihm.
Well, being one of the oldest dealerships around, it's had a lot of impact. So it's, people recognize it. People in the trucking industry know it. It's been there forever. They realize the name and the impact. And I think that probably the biggest thing has been just the growth.
the future of Rihm, I hope, is continued growth, obviously. I'd like to say let's let them be around in another 75 years. That would be pretty incredible.
Carrie, I can see us add another dealership in the next 5 to 10 years. I look forward to seeing JB Rihm take over and see what he can do at the helm.
I obviously want to continue the company as long as we can, as long as there's a need for it. A fourth generation business is pretty rare. And what's been fun though, is a lot of our long-time standing customers bought trucks from us in the 40s, 50s, 60s. And that's first, second generation are starting to retire. And so now their sons and daughters are coming into the business. And it's just, to me, it's a big personal goal to make sure that we continue on being successful over the next, decade, generation, whatever it might be.
Thanks, Rihm Kenworth,
Thanks, Rihm.
Congratulations on 75 years.
Thanks, Rihm Kenworth,
Thanks, Rihm.
for a great 75 years.
for a great 75 years.
For a great 75.
Great 75.
And here's to another 75 more.
150 years in business, right?
And I look forward to another 75.
And here's to 75 more.
And here's to another 75 more.